Welcome back to the Caribou Data Science channel. Today is October the 13th, 2020. I'm getting rid of my daily COVID-19 analysis for the state of Spain. Spain has certainly been struggling, cases and even to a certain extent deaths. So let's just run this report real quick and see exactly what it says. Okay. Spain is currently averaging 3,097 cases per day and 115 deaths. This is the mortality rate. These spikes are all probably week Mondays. So we can say that the mortality rate is this will be 1.5%. According to the lowest curve, it's less than 1.5% average per day. Okay. Let's take a look at daily cases and deaths. And once again, you can see the lowest line probably gives us a better picture of what's going on a daily basis. And the basic fact is it's still climbing, although it's not climbing quite as steeply here. Okay. And that lowest line is like 1,000 cases, 15,512 cases right along in here, okay? Well, this down here is 9,437 cases, okay? So let's take a look at deaths now. As you can see, deaths are continuing to climb up. Once again, we got a little volatility, but the average is 175 deaths per day probably, and 101 deaths per day. So there's a 70 death increase from here up to here on this blue line. Okay, let's take a look let's zoom in a little closer for the cases. You can see the cases are going up as expected. Deaths apparently are flattening out, which could be extremely good news. Flatten out about 140 per day. As you can see, there is a lot of volatility. It looks as if there's even missing some data right there also. Okay, which isn't necessarily good. So let's take a look at some weekly numbers. Okay, the good news is Spain had Spain had the cases decline the last 2 weeks. Okay, while deaths, kind of peaked out the last 2 weeks at about 750 maybe. Let's take a look at the monthly numbers. September was the largest month with over 300,000 cases for the month of September. October is almost caught August, which is not good. October, 13 days in October, there are over 100,000 cases for the month. Okay, deaths continue to remain fairly low. Last month, which was September, had around 2,500 cases. But once again, only 13 days in, a little less than halfway in, it's almost the month of October's deaths are almost half of what September was. So there is a glimmer of hope that the deaths are still staying relatively low compared to the cases, and cases do seem to be declining a little bit. So maybe that semi-lockdown is having some effect after all. But we have to continue to watch over the days and weeks to come. So that takes care of the report for Spain. I'll just upload this to the directory, and we'll catch you on the next report.